dreams? While you're awake? Dead people like in graves and coffins?
Walking around like regular people. They don't see each other. They only see what they want to see. They don't know they're dead.
How often do you see them?
All the time. They're everywhere.
Tuesday, the 29th of April 2014. My name's Paul.
My name's Andy.
This is the Unpenned show on our regular Tuesday slot.
It is.
Pre-recorded, especially for YouTube. We're not on worldwide, nationwide tour in the cinemas.
No.
Straight to YouTube in the bargain basement bin.
Yes.
And we have sat in with us as well, Stuart.
We have.
Hi, Stu. Yes, Stu. Right. Lots and lots and lots to talk about. But we try not to get too involved in the news, do we?
No,
Because the news is the press gangs themselves. The press gangs, they're there to coerce you. They're there to coax you. And that's the TV signal that was delivered, the television, delivered by a coax cable. Put the word coax together. You tell me it's not to inform you, to get you into formation, into predetermined order. But we are going to start with a little bit of news. And it's news that was on our doorstep.
It was on
and
our doorstep.
This is yesterday's news from Leeds about a school teacher who I have relatives, children's go to. Okay, my relatives, they have children who go to the very school themselves, and that's the Corpus Christi school in Leeds, where a teacher was murdered yesterday.
Yeah, and it's in Leeds. Right, you can't see it from the news pictures on the road that are outside because it all looks very pretty. Does the Corpus Christi school? It had a real big makeover some years ago to make it look nice and pretty, and the railings outside and everything. But right across the back of it is the Halton Moor estate. And if you've not been to Leeds, or if you have been to Leeds, you've probably just been in the city centre. But the Halton Moor estate is the renowned estate. It is the Beirut of Leeds. It is a no-go area. If even the police don't go around in there unless there's 3 of them. And they don't go on after 5 o'clock at night. The only people that are allowed to go on there on an evening are doctors and emergency services.
So you can get a pizza faster than a copper.
You can, yes. Yeah. On that estate there, yes, you can. But on the border in it as well is Temple Newsham, which is the landed gentry estate. But that's behind the great big wall, and they have their festivals and things there. And then the other side of the road is the Gipton estate, which is the next level up from the Pond Life. You don't quite get the Pond Life there, but in the Gipton estate you get stuff that's managed to crawl onto the bank.
Corpus Christi,
yes,
the body of Christ.
It is.
So it's a religious school.
It is. It's a Catholic school.
Okay.
So you've got to be in the Catholic faith to
now
go there.
This is the first time we've actually had a murder of a school teacher in the UK.
Second time.
Was it the second time?
It's the second time. Yes, there was a teacher stabbed to death down south somewhere, I believe. Can't remember his name, but it was a head teacher.
But that brings us to a news story that we don't normally do the news. The news is to distract, to divert. This is a race we're on, and we're behind. We're not winning this race. If we were winning, we wouldn't be where we are today.
No.
They're winning the race. The press gangs is to slow us down, divert, distract, entertain. While they're getting on with business, while they're driving the straight road, they've got us the long and winding road. They want us to look at this, come over here, look over here. But this news story is, it very much is a parable of what's happening today. And we're looking at, the headline is, teenagers can no longer tell the real world from the internet, study claims. I think all parents of children who are savvy with the internet are already seeing the difference between their children and themselves.
Yeah.
I hope they are. Otherwise, that it doesn't make them parents if they're not. We have lots and lots of instances of parents now who sort of speak about their children as if they're the friends, the pals. They drink with them, they dress like them, they talk like them, they do the same things as them, and they compete with them in every department. Well, that's not a parent at all, is it?
No.
You know, the highest title that a man or woman should want is mother or father. Anything else would be lower than.
Yeah.
You know, and to be a mother and to be a father is there's nothing.
It's the pinnacle.
It's what you're here for.
Yeah.
You're here to replicate yourself.
Yeah.
And improve upon what you were.
Yes.
That's the idea, isn't it?
To improve it. Yeah.
You know, I'm listening to things now that are confirming that these are some of the best. So these are some of the more well-known voices in the areas that we've been talking about for a long time. And that is that in the early days of discovering how much I didn't know and how dumb I was, we met, and thank God we did.
Yeah.
Because how would our lives have turned out if we hadn't met? We can't answer that question, but we suspect it wouldn't be how they have today.
No, I can imagine not.
Would we still have been fighting and falling out and trying to argue the point about things we didn't know and couldn't prove? We probably would have been, wouldn't we?
Probably, yeah.
Because we've guided we actually guided each other here.
Yeah.
You know, I know when I've made mistakes, and you know when you have, and we talk about them all the time. What went wrong? What did we do wrong? When we look at what we have, the internet, it really is the devil incarnate. It is the Antichrist. It fits every criteria that the Antichrist was going to fulfill when it came back. And it arrives as a body of light. This is... I mean, you've written down a saying there. We were looking through some old sayings there and picking out a little bit of wisdom from years gone by. And what's the one you picked out?
Yeah, it says here, a man with one watch knows what time it is, but the man with two watches is never quite sure what time it is.
And this is a quote from many years ago.
Lee Segal.
It's not dated, but it's a quote from a long time ago. And in this modern world, which is just... It's just the very same world as always existed. It's just a constant form of updates. It's constantly updated to stay ahead of the race.
Yeah.
Well, of course, we have two watches. We've had two watches for quite some time.
Yeah.
We've got the window on the world that is real life. And now we've got this counterfeit version, which we're being told is real life. The actual incident that happened in the school at Leeds yesterday... You corrected me, and I'm glad you did. It's only the second time that something like this has happened in the UK.
Yeah.
So let's just calm down a little bit. It's only the second time that this has happened in the UK. But of course, the system itself is going to capitalise on this.
Yeah.
Because it's a capitalising system. It makes most of what it is that we present to them, and then turns it round in the guise of keeping us safe while taking away freedoms. You can't ever save somebody from this world we live in if they already think they're free. Walk away and leave them alone. Freedom isn't something that's given. Freedom is something that's fought for.
It is, yeah.
We have to fight for it to keep it, because they want to take it away.
Yeah.
The real world and the internet, of course, are going to become the singularity. They're going to become one and the same. You and I probably won't stay alive long enough to actually confirm this, but of course I don't have to confirm it. I know it already. And that is that, you know, the speeds that we can get now. I mean, my download speed here with this fibre optic, it's up to 88 meg per second. That's just ridiculous, isn't it? Considering 20 years ago, we was on a 56k dial-up. Now, I know that doesn't maybe mean much to some people, but let's have a little think about that in 20 years. A 56 kilobyte per second dial-up compared to an 88 meg per second fibre optic connection. So in 20 years, we've gone from 56... It's like an 18th to a meg, and then 88 times 18. Thousands of times faster. 12, 13, 14, 15, I've done the maths in my head. 16, 17 times faster than what we had 20 years ago. Well, I don't think we're going to get 16 or 17 times faster in the future, because a lot less than that will bring the internet to real life speed.
Yeah. But we should have really got 16 to 18 times smarter. But we haven't.
But this is called technologic.
Yeah.
Okay, think of the word. Technological. You decipher that word.
Yeah.
All right? We can say you don't have to think. The technique of not having to think. Or the technique that doesn't, the technical method of not making sense. The word is technological. Whether you like it or not. The truth is written right in front of you.
It is.
It always has been, right in front of us. Are we the best version of mankind that's ever existed?
I don't
think so. I don't think so. Before we came on tonight and decided to record a little bit, that word normal. What can we do with the word normal? Because what is normal?
Yeah.
Well, we don't know. We need somebody else to tell us.
Yeah. And we do use that. That wasn't normal in my day.
But was that normal then?
Yeah.
You know, why do all the older people that we've met over the years, when they're coming to the end of the days, they don't seem too upset about leaving this world behind, do they? I'm glad I'm not being born now. I'm glad I'm not being born and having to face what you lot are facing. Do you think we have the ability to actually decipher any of this stuff? Or do you think a few of us have made a determined effort, the rest couldn't care less, and those above us, not only do they know it, they manipulate us. So
they're engineering it to what they want anyway, or trying to engineer it to what they want. So yeah,
but are they actually?
We've got to strive to know or know.
Are they socially engineering us in a way that they actually control it all? I mean, I remember years ago, maybe 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago now, I remember shopping at Christmas, and I went in W.H. Smith's or wherever it was, and I saw this bloody great big remote control. It said Universal Remote Control, and I thought, that's the very thing. Now, unfortunately, it only did the television. Unfortunately, it only did the TV. But looking back now, I smile to myself, because everything we get at this level here, which is the bottom, please make no mistake, we're at the very bottom level, and we know we are. When we get it, it manifests itself in our reality. It's because it's come trickle down, slowly but surely, trickle down, and we get it at this level.
Yeah.
And we see the ability for a universal remote control that controls all your electronic gadgetry. And now, over the time that we've learned how this really works, they only give us that so they can show us that they've achieved universal control over the electronic gadgetry. In other words, they've agreed on the basics of the language, the computer code that's going to be used, and we're going to be able to communicate with all these machines remotely.
Yeah.
Now, going back to the incident in Leeds, anybody who says that the kids can't tell the real world from the internet or can't differentiate properly between the two isn't paying attention. Even your own son has said that he prefers what the picture the TV can show him. Yeah,
the HD. Once he got an HD TV, those were his exact words. It looks more like real life than real life.
What a strange words, isn't it?
It was though that picture that is on the TV looks better than the one I can see outside, that I can actually touch.
But if we just go a little further in with that, what it perhaps could mean is that the world of entertainment is better in this one than it is out in that tough world out there.
Yeah.
Because I know there's quite a lot of people all over my Facebook page, and God bless you all, that do nothing but moan and repost and repost and repost and repost and repost bad news. I can be accused of it myself, but what I put on my Facebook page is what I'm finding useful, or what I think other people might find useful, and I'm using it for, well, say, research purposes. And in this crazy world, if you copy off one person, that is plagiarism, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
But if you copy off loads of people, that's just research.
That's just research.
That's all right. That's just research. Don't get mixed up with the two. Apparently, that's how it works. So, yeah, what's on my Facebook page is just for research, but I do get the feeling that a lot of my Facebook friends, and I say Facebook friends because I've never met the majority of them, they are just news hounds. They are confirming what we've talked about many times before, that they're just, rather than go out to work as such, you know, we can argue about whether you want to work or not, it doesn't matter to me. You should have some pride in your own independence. How that's achieved, it's up to you. But if you're living off other people, I'm sorry, but you're not going to get much. You're not going to get much from me. I'm not with you on that one. Become independent however you want, but be independent. Don't tell me you are when you're really not, and don't tell me you're going to be, because you either are or you aren't. Is there some way out of this system? No, there is no way out of this system. A field and a tent if you're lucky, and you'll sleep in fear every night. But going back to the children, and there was a thread on my Facebook page last night about the incident in Leeds and how shocked the parents were, and how terrible it really was, and how who should we blame? And they never blame themselves. The authoritarian judges that were on the Facebook thread were really very judgmental and authoritarian about everything but themselves. And a couple of them, people always personalise it. Well, I don't do that, so I'm not guilty. Well, I don't do that, so I'm not guilty. And that's how they take it, isn't it? I put on something like, how can you be surprised with this modern world we live in? How can you be surprised that we expose kids to so much violence? And you're surprised about an incident like this? My big surprise is that it's not happened before now. That didn't go down too well. Everybody thought I was blaming them on the thread. And that's what happens with this crazy way of talking. That everyone thinks you're blaming them. So they personalise it. Yeah. And if they think you're attacking them, they attack you back. And if they want to prove you wrong, they try and find a case in their reality that proves you wrong. Yeah. I know somebody who doesn't do that. I know somebody who doesn't do that. I know somebody who can prove you wrong. You say, well done. But you're not looking through a very big picture here, are you? Because the majority is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the way people generally speak, the way people generally feel. And I know there's two versions of the truth. There's the one that comes out of your mouth and the one that lives in your head. And the two things don't often match up. Not really. You'll give me an edit, but you don't give me the full show. Yeah. And I realise that this way of thinking and understanding people is not for everybody, is it? No. It's not for everybody. And when you get that response all the time, which you do, they think you're blaming them, and then they try and find somebody to prove you wrong. You realise that more people than you actually realise are living in virtual world. Now, virtual world hasn't just arrived. It's been around for a long, long time, because it's been around the newspapers. And the newspapers can make you think that this is what's happening, and look at you that you haven't experienced it yet. The newspapers, they don't do a good news version, do they? The news sets off every evening. It says, good evening and welcome to the news. And then they proceed to tell you everything they can to spoil it. Don't they? They tell you everything that's bad about it after saying good evening. Why? Why do they do that? Because that's what the news is about. Now, do we like bad news better than good news? Well, it's different. We like bad news because we turn it into gossip and spread it like poison, as long as it's about other people. As long as it's about other people. If it's about us, no. We only like good news about us. We're okay with good news and compliments. If it's good news about somebody else, it depends how much money they've got as to how happy we are for them. Yeah. You see what I mean? Oh, he's done well for himself. Well done, lad. Or, of course, it goes like, money goes to money, don't it? Money goes to money, don't it?
They had it coming.
Aye, money goes to money in the secret societies and in the clubs and the golf clubs. And you see what I mean? We're such a nasty little set that we're not pleased if... In fact, what are we happy about? We're happy in bloody misery most of the time, aren't we? As long as we can revel in somebody else's. You know, I mean, I've heard stories like you can see two girls sit down, and guys don't do this so much, but girls do it. And they say, oh, I have something to tell you. And they'll tell you a terrible thing has happened, and I don't know how I'm going to go on. They say, oh, I feel for you. Oh, what we're going to do? You see, they're stealing off you and revelling in their bloody misery. Oh, you're right. I don't know how we're going to get through this. Oh, I'm glad we're here for each other now. Well, you were all right 5 minutes ago. You actually steal somebody else's problem of it, and because you haven't got any of your own, you enjoy sharing theirs, don't you? It's bloody nuts, isn't it? And most people in the let's spread the darkness arena, right? What would do they ever post good news stories? No, they bloody well don't. Have a look at the pages. Have a look at the psychological profile on Facebook. Do they post that? No, they don't post happy stories. No, they are spending times digging in the imaginary garden for bones and remnants to bring to you to say, look what I just found. Look what I just found. You haven't just found it all. You just ripped it off somebody else's website.
Yeah, that's all we do, isn't it?
It's the most crazy way, isn't it? It is the most crazy thing. I mean, we have 18 certificates on all these violent games, don't we? I don't know the stats because nobody will tell the truth. Do we think the number playing these games are lower than 18? The percentage playing these games are lower than 18 or higher than 18 years old? Do we think 50% lower and 50% higher? Or do we think it's 70% lower and 30% higher? One of the threads on the Facebook that I was following was this studies have proved that this doesn't affect children's behaviour in the real world. And you think to yourself, you self-righteous little so-and-so. You think, that's rubbish. That's absolutely rubbish. Exposing young children's minds to needless, senseless, mindless violence and saying it's normal. Because if you don't object to it and you sit and watch it with them, then we've got a new normal, haven't we?
Yeah.
Well, we just talked about the word normal. What is the word normal? Well, it gets moved along, doesn't it?
It does move along, yeah.
It's called the Overton window.
Yeah.
And we move along, don't we? Change the environment, change the animal. Change the environment, change the animal.
Yeah.
Where is normal?
It's like us when we were kids, we played Cowboys and Indians and we played Army, and your imagination. And all right, you watched a Sunday afternoon film or something, you watched Cowboys and Indians, or you watched a World War II film. But there wasn't the blood and the gore and the head being decapitated and blood and guts everywhere. You didn't see that.
Well, we used to have family films on Saturday nights and Sundays.
Yeah.
Didn't we?
A sale. But your imagination didn't run wild with you in that respect. You just, if somebody had shot you, just sort of held up your chest, didn't you, and fell to the ground.
I actually remember when I was young. Yeah, I remember. I was one of my earliest memories. My earliest memory was getting a red car for Christmas, a pedal car.
All right,
where the lights went on when you pedal. And my second memory is a bow and arrow. Remember the sticker ones?
Yeah.
And I shot him with my bow and arrow, and he brilliant show. He flew over the back of the sofa and was writhing in pain, and he was so convincing. I thought, I've hurt him. I was 3, I think.
Yeah, the shock on your face.
Yeah.
Well, I've actually hurt some.
But you're talking about you're talking about how it wasn't as graphic.
No.
You knew it was family friendly. Children have to learn by experience.
Yes.
We still have to learn by experience. And watching is not experiencing. Your body feels like it has experienced something by watching somebody else's pain.
Yeah.
But it's nothing like you experiencing it yourself.
No.
That's why your emotions run wild when you're watching television. Because your body, it to some extent, you buy into the film, you buy into the characters, and you experience their emotions, which is why you like movies.
Yeah.
But it's counterfeit. It's not you.
No.
And of course the story is written. I mean, imagine you could sit with a pen and paper and you say, I can write anything I want here. And Hollywood can make it happen.
Yeah.
Hollywood can make it happen. So I can show these people anything, and they know that it's going to be okay at the end.
Yeah.
Because that's why they're not scared to watch. Because it'll be okay at the end.
Well, I remember breaking my wrist, and remembering the pain that I had with breaking my wrist and crying my eyes out, and every little movement I made hurt. Even walking to my mum and for a cuddle and for her to tell me it were all right. It hurt so much. And I remember asking the question, how come when Lone Ranger gets shot in his leg, he can still ride his horse? And
You prove my point. What this is doing is it's counterfeiting the rites of passage. Okay, the persona that you can be on here. Okay, you can drive a car in that persona. You can meet girls in that persona. You can be more than you're ever going to be.
Yeah.
Because you can plagiarise and steal other people's stuff and say, look what I found, look what I found. But this is an imagination. But it's not your imagination. Your imagination is only fired, properly sort of comes into life. It's when you start to read, isn't it? See, when you grow up, the first book you read is a picture book, but you're not reading it. It's just a picture book. The next book you read as you grow up has got pictures and words in it.
Yeah.
And the book you finally graduate onto has just got the words in it, because you have the stored information, you have all the things you need to create your own pictures. What we're doing here on here, what you and I are doing now,
it's the reverse of it.
It's the reverse of that, exactly.
What does that mean?
To take something in.
Okay, excellent. To absorb. Anyone?
Everywhere, all the time.
So what is ubiquitous assimilation?
Always absorbing everything everywhere all the time.
Well done, George. How are you to imagine anything if the images are always provided for you? Who here read 1984 last year? Good. Anyone? Meredith?
Having two opposing beliefs at once and believing that both are true.
Excellent, Meredith.
Why do you always suck his dick, you fucking kiss ass?
To deliberately believe in lies while knowing they're false. Examples of this in everyday life. Oh, I need to be pretty to be happy. I need surgery to be pretty. I need to be thin, famous, fashionable. Our young men today are being told that women are whores, bitches, things to be screwed, beaten, shit on, and shamed. This is a marketing holocaust. 24 hours a day. For the rest of our lives, the powers that be are hard at work, dumbing us to death. So, to defend ourselves and fight against assimilating this dullness into our thought processes, we must learn to read, to stimulate our own imaginations, to cultivate our own consciousness, our own belief systems. We all need these skills to defend, to preserve our own minds.
Right, and welcome back then. Part 2 of the Unpenned show, live on live in this room.
Yes.
That's as live as it gets. No reflection on the Wake Radio at all, because they were lovely to us. They really were lovely to us.
Yep.
But we felt doing it in little bits, having a chat between segments, taking a little more time with the show.
Yeah.
Try and get what we share is what we share with each other, and we try and decode the world in a way that's easier, because the complexity is us that makes it complex. The money system has fooled even the best of economists.
Yes.
You know, and the politicians, believe me, half of them don't have a clue how it works either. But they know who their paymasters are.
They do.
They know who the paymasters are. We can argue all day, but the fact is that they work 5 months a year. Okay, they pretty much are exempt from all the laws because nobody hardly gets into trouble.
No.
the backroom deals that we're all aware they're doing for when they move out of politics and into. It's all networking and connections. We all understand this, really. They're called pigs and troughs and that sort of thing, and some of them are absolutely shameless. No matter how many times they get caught, they just come back, don't they? The economy isn't as complicated as most people think. And the money system isn't as complicated as most people think. But because they make it seem so, we won't go back to school, will we?
No.
You know, we in this economy, we are the fish.
Yeah.
And fish live in schools, but we only want it to be playtime. We don't want to learn our lessons. We don't want to... We get false lessons taught to us about love and spirituality. Not false in a way that they're not of value, but they don't really help your journey. Your journey is seeing that it is a corrupt system, but the reason it's corrupt is because of a bad education on our part. And we think shouting at mummy and daddy who've done this on purpose is going to change something. We think investing our time in somebody else to make our lives better is silly. But we still do it because it means that we don't have to. Because deep down we're not very smart. And we know deep down we're not very smart. We watch the news and we believe we're informed.
Yeah.
We didn't make any of the news. We're not actually featured in the news. Okay, and most of the news we cannot change. Okay, we cannot sit in our rooms and change what's been shown to us. So the bigger the news story, the smaller that you feel. You know, they have to make the world a big, scary place, so we feel small and insignificant.
Yeah.
We've allowed this to be done to us without actually concentrating on what it is that we should be doing. And that's not making a copy of ourselves, although we do make a copy. But no, we should make an improved version of ourselves.
Should be improved.
An improved version of ourselves.
Shouldn't be a spoilt one.
No, you can't spoil it along the way.
No.
But we do. We adulterate it.
Yeah.
Because we get adulterated. We are adults that are being changed.
Yeah.
We're being adulterated as we go along. We spoke about the word normal. What is normal? There is nothing that's normal because everything keeps changing.
It does.
We say we don't like change when all we do is change everything that we come into contact with. Everything we come into contact with, we change it. And if we learn the lesson, it will change us. We are everything that we've come into contact and everything we've ever been. They're just figuring out now that inside us is the racial memories of who and where we came from. They've just worked out, and yet we've always known this, that to some extent we know everything that we are. We just have to release the information so we can recall it and use it to our benefit. A lot of people don't even understand that this is a living organism, this lovely blue planet that we live on. It's alive. Now, it's not maybe alive in the way that you and I are, but it is alive in a way that it repairs itself. And it allows us carte blanche to wreck it, and yet still it survives. And somehow mankind has managed to take ownership of it when he only shares it. We have to live lives of guilt because of the damage that's been done by big business, just so we can have our lights on and our food shelves stocked.
Yeah.
We're told that it's our fault that these risks have to be taken. We're told that it's our fault that we have to try harder, search harder, dig deeper, build bigger.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be our fault, and it'll be our fault right to the end. When we're living in bloody dog kennels, stacked higher than the Empire State Building, we'll still believe they're doing it for our own good.
We will. And that we're the guilty ones.
That's right. That's how this is working out.
Yep.
There is a little story on my Facebook page, and mine and your Facebook will be below this YouTube that this video is going to be turned into tomorrow. There's a little story that it's been around for a long time, and yet I don't think a lot of people really get how simple this is, because they read it and then they just walk away from it. And yet this illustrates how the money system works. And we have two words that are connected to the money system. One is revenue, and the other one is rate of return.
Yep.
It's the same word.
Yeah.
Revenue is to complete the cycle or go home, revenue, back to where you came from. And the rate of return is what the interest part of it is.
That's the interest.
That's what we're interested about. I'm interested in the rate of return. How fast am I going to get my money back? This is a system that is a recyclable system that's built on debt and ignorance.
Yep.
It's our debt and our ignorance that's allowed it to be built. Do I say that we've got an alternative to money? Well, right now I think we've got to hold on to the cash that we've got.
Yeah.
If we ever lose cash as a means of exchange between ourselves, we will lose the last few essence of freedom. Because nothing then will be private. Nothing.
No.
We won't be able to buy or sell or exchange anything
without anybody else knowing.
Yeah. And we have got a world now that says, well, what are you worried about?
Yeah.
They immediately go, well, what are you worried about?
Yeah.
But they have no idea that the grey economy is what this world is actually living on.
Certainly is, yeah.
Helping each other out for a little bit here and there, babysitting, caring for old folks, doing a bit of shopping, washing the cars, that sort of thing. That's the whole world is being held together on a grey economy. And should that be removed, it's going to fall to pieces. Well, it'll mean that we can't trade amongst ourselves. Everything is trackable, traceable, findable and chargeable.
Yep.
Now, if the system was working for my benefit, then I would be able to say, okay, it is a little unfortunate that people are not paying the fair share. But let's not pick on the little people if that's the way we're going to think, yeah? Let's not pick on the little people who are doing a bit of babysitting or a bit of gardening or whatever. Let's not do that, shall we? Let's start with the big boys.
Yeah.
Let's start with the people who are avoiding billions of pounds in taxation.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's start with the corrupt thieves. Let's ask the members of the European Parliament, why don't they pay tax? Why don't they pay VAT? Let's ask about, are you paying tax on your expenses? Are the members of Parliament paying tax on expenses?
Let's ask about these companies that can survive wars, that can survive recessions, that can survive depressions. And I'm thinking of big companies like Unilever, Procter & Gamble, ICI.
The ones that were in from the start.
Yeah, these were in, and they seem to be untouchable. And
well, that's because they are.
And we know what...
I mean, what if the real truth is, this world is run as a business, and the governments are just a board of directors?
No,
what
it
if,
can't,
what
it
if
can't
that,
work like that.
What if that's the real truth? And what, because of the complexities of societies and the science of lying, because to lie is a science and to get away with it is a look how far they've had to go to keep the lie wrapped up, to keep us oblivious. Look how extreme it's got. Look at the extent. The movies, the entertainment, the parks. Look how many people have had to corrupt. Or have they had to corrupt? Have we brought this on ourselves? Through our own ignorance and childishness, have we always been this version? And have we always been this gullible? And we just don't like to admit it. Because we can only look through our own lives, can't we?
Yeah.
My mother never got it. I started talking to my mum before she passed away about it, and she didn't get it.
No.
She knew the system was broken. She knew the system was corrupt. But she knew that before I started talking to her.
Yeah.
And if I try to talk to her about how it is and why it is and how we've been fooled and how we got scammed and what should we do now, no, she didn't like that.
But then there's the other end of the scale that you talk to people and they go, yeah, we know it's all rigged, we know it's all a game, and if you don't know how to play the game, then you don't know how it is really. You say you do.
Are they wrong?
But they're not. No,
you see, this is where the loveless losers at the bottom, the ones that are learning stuff from 30, 40, 50, 100, 200, 300, 400 Magna Carta years. All right, please learn that as a basis of your steps forward. But when you walk into court, you've already lost.
Yeah,
you've already lost. Okay,
you have.
It's just how much you're going to pay.
Well, it's called. You're in defence, aren't you? And the very word defence,
they're attacking you.
Yes, you're removing.
They're attacking you.
You've already removed your fence, so there's nothing there to defend you anyway.
But you're having to defend your position.
You are.
But you haven't got a sword.
You've not.
We don't do it with swords anymore. Now we do it with the new swords, words. Well, they make up the rules.
Yeah.
It's not a justice system. It's a criminal's justice system. It's the criminal justice system. It's not yours.
No.
I mean, God bless those people who are trying to... Well, they're trying to stay in houses that can't bloody afford. Yeah. This gets really tricky because I admire the people who are fighting, but I think they're fighting it wrong. I think they're fighting. They're fighting it the wrong way.
They
can block up the courts by all means and fight them on all fronts, but we've been around this a long time now. We've been around this an awful long time now, and nobody wins.
I've looked into it myself, and if you can actually manage to achieve this, it's cheaper to build your own house, even brick by brick.
Yeah. Well, that's how they do it
If
abroad.
you
That's
can
what.
manage to get the license to do so.
But this is all if and if only, and we just need. These are all words that are so short that we throw them in conversation as if it's going to happen. This is rubbish. This is rubbish. Okay, the fight is taking place, right, and we're playing spectators. This is a boxing match, and you can sit as close to the front as you want, but you're not in that ring.
No.
You're not in that ring, and you're not making decisions about how that fight's going to go.
We're just the watchers.
We are just the watchers, and this is the problem. This is the blinking problem. Hollywood's now played its part reasonably well. It's been doing it for a long time, but now Hollywood is starting to make films where they reveal the method and then still show us winning. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, that's brilliant, isn't it? Because we think Hollywood's now on our side. Since when did we think that?
Yeah.
When did that change? when did that change? Hollywood's never been on our side. Hollywood has been sitting us down for years saying it'll be okay in the end.
Yeah.
It'll be okay in the end.
Yeah,
You leave it to us. So now we're getting films that we understand. Now we're getting films about the stuff that we talk about. And it still shows you it's going to be okay in the end.
Yeah.
Somebody else still saves out the world.
Somebody comes along and saves your ass. Yeah.
Right, so don't be fooled what Hollywood's doing. Hollywood's doing what Hollywood has always done.
Yeah.
Yes, the decode's in the film. Yes, the truth's in the film. To those that can decode it. But still somebody else saves you.
Yeah.
So it's not different at all.
No.
We just are understanding more and more and more about how this works. I've heard all this before. Yeah, I've heard it all before, but now I've experienced it. Now I personally have experienced it. Now I know more than I ever did. And it's about a simply complex system full of liars.
Yeah.
It's a fancy wrapped in a fairy tale told by liars. And we bloody love it. What if the real truth is it's just a big business? And we're just the employees, and they come with every which way they can to keep us poor, misdirected, and dumb.
Well, we are the guilt, aren't we? They say gilt-edged, a gilt-edged pension, and that's the the word guilt, and they play on our guilt. They were trying to get Stuart with his make him feel guilty about going to court, and luckily for Stuart, he stood up to him and said, "Yeah, I'll meet you in court. I'll see you there."
But the gilt edge is the topping, isn't it?
Yes,
it's the piping. It's the decorative.
It's just the gold edge
it's
that
the
goes round.
gold
It's
piping
gilt,
round it.
yes,
yeah.
There's not
seals
very
the
little
deal.
bit.
Seals the deal, doesn't
Yes.
it? Seals the bloody
And we
deal.
sealed the deal. Without us, they've not got any deal. Without us signing the agreement, they've no deal.
We've only just learnt how expensive, how valuable our signature is, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
We've only just learnt that over the past few years.
Yeah.
Who's
Sorry,
squeaky?
it's me.
Is it you?
I've got a squeaky seat.
You've got a squeaky chain.
I was up against the radiator squeaky. Sorry. But another little instance at court that came up was one of our friends, unfortunately, just been banned from driving for 6 months, and she was in court, and the judge said, "Yeah, we're going to ban you, but we'll only ban you for 6 months. We won't ban you for 12. And think yourself lucky." And she went out into
Thank
you, Your Honour, thank you. But she went out into the clerk of the court to pay the fine, because there's a £300 fine to pay as well. And the clerk of the court, they said, "Right, here's your fine. And how are you going to pay today?" And she said, "Oh, I'll pay on my card, my debit card. There we go. That's your £300." Now, her husband was with her because he'd driven her to the court, realising that she probably wasn't going to be able to drive home. So her husband was waiting for her to sign for the fine and everything. But as they were going out, and Julie were just putting things in a bag and everything, getting everything sorted to go, the next person was asked to go to the clerk of the court to pay the fine. And a young lad got up in his all his designer gear and all that, and the big gold earring and a gold chain, and his greased back hair, and went to the clerk of the court, and he said, "Right, how are you going to pay your fine?" And he said, "I can't pay my fine." "Right, well, you'll have to sign here then." He said, "I can't write. I'm sorry, I can't write." And Eddie's ears pricked up when he thought, "Hang on a minute, he can't." And he had a listen while Julie was sorting her personal effects out. He said, no, I can't write. And I don't know how to write my name. I know what my name is, because that's what my mum and dad called me, but I don't know how to write my name. And I can't read either. And sure enough, he says, right, well, you just go sit down and we'll have to deal with you in another way. And next guy called up his neighbour, same thing. No, he didn't know what charge they were on, but there were 3 guys all on the bench waiting, and they all said the same thing. I can't read and write. No. And did they have to pay any money? No. It was only the person that could sign and got the debit card that they could get the money off that day.
They'll get it off them eventually.
They will, yes.
Because this is a mafia system of
It is.
If you don't do as you're told this time round, then we'll be back and we'll increase the charges.
Yes.
And eventually, if you don't pay, we'll kidnap you,
yeah.
and then we'll steal stuff out your house.
I understand that, yes.
And the HMRC are now asking for permission to go into your bank accounts because they don't want to mess about this, going to your house and writing your letters. They say, we think you owe us this money, and if you don't pay them in time or don't prove that you don't owe it, they're just going to come and get it.
Yeah.
They're just going to come and get it.
Yeah, they can just go into it and get it.
The authoritarian system that we live in has always been here. This is just our version of it. This is our version of it. Yeah. Do we have more freedom now than we've ever had? In one way, yes, and in one way, no. We've got technology has given us a real opportunity to actually learn in a way that we've never learned before. But there's so much on here, and there's so much of a battle about what's true and what isn't, and what's the point. What's the point? Just listen to what you've been told and see how are you going to act or how are you going to react when you've been told something. I've got a little clip from Letterman to play here. This is American TV. And I'll play it in just a second, but just to finish off the little bit, you can't say they don't tell us.
No.
I will play that Letterman clip,
yeah.
though. Don't let me forget, but I've forgotten.
Yeah, because
it starts off saying I was going to do this.
It fits in with what it comes in at the end of the Letterman clip, doesn't it?
Well, I think if you can get someone to sit down and maybe you're going to try and share with them a little bit in the early days about how the money system works. Because that's what we figured out early days, wasn't it? We didn't know the money system.
No.
And what we found out online was that the most people online didn't know the money system either. But God bless them, they jumped on YouTube, made videos, and in most part were somewhere half right, weren't they? This is how simple money should. This is how simple it really is. It's a slow day in a little Greek village. The rain is beating down and the streets are deserted. Times are tough. Everybody's in debt and everybody lives on credit. Sound familiar?
A little bit.
On this particular day, a rich German tourist is driving through the village. He stops at the local hotel and lays a €100 note on the desk, telling the hotel owner he wants to inspect the rooms upstairs in order to pick one to spend the night. The owner gives him some keys and, as soon as the visitor's walked upstairs, the hotelier grabs the €100 note, runs next door to pay his debt to the butcher. The butcher takes the €100 note and runs down the street to repay his debt to the pig farmer. The pig farmer takes the same €100 note and heads off to pay his bill at the supplier of feed and fuel. The guy at the farmer's co-op takes the same €100 note and runs to pay his drinks bill at the tavern. The publican slips the money along to the local prostitute drinking at the bar, who has also been facing hard times and has had to offer him services on credit. The hooker then rushes to the hotel and pays off a room bill to the hotel owner with the very same €100 note. The hotel proprietor then places the €100 note back on the counter so the rich traveller will not suspect anything. At that moment, the traveller comes down the stairs, picks up the €100 note, states that the rooms are not satisfactory, pockets the money and leaves town. No one produced anything. No one earned anything. However, the whole village is now out of debt to each other and looking to the future with a lot more optimism. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how a bailout could work. Think about that. We're just holding each other to ransom, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're just paying bills with bills. They're just bills.
That's all they are.
In America, they call them bills.
They do.
It's just a bill, isn't it? You give me a bill and I give you, let's say, a £20 note, which is just an unpaid loan.
Promise, yeah.
It's just an unpaid loan as yet to go back to the bank.
Yep.
So I'm giving you somebody else's bill. Outstanding.
Yeah.
It's just an outstanding bill, isn't it? It really is as simple as that.
Yeah, the clever bit is the tax, the interest.
It's the revenue and the rate of return.
The late
That's what
payment
they're
charges,
interested-
all those things that go
Yeah.
on top. Yeah, that indebt a society.
How much of it would you change? What's the first thing you would change? If let's do a hypothetical little bit of fun. What would you change? What's the first thing you would do if they said, "Okay, then"? What's the first thing you would change?
The interest.
We've done these three. I've done 3 points before, haven't
You
I?
have, yeah.
We've done 3 points. I'll stick with the same three, I think, as well.
Mm.
Interest-free mortgages.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'd go for. But you couldn't have as many as you want.
Oh no.
It's for your house.
Yeah, it's for you. Yeah,
Interest-free mortgages.
for you to live in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, interest-free mortgages. Freedom of healthcare.
Hmm. That means you're
You're responsible for your own healthcare.
yeah, you can take it and spend it wherever you want to spend it on, whether it
Well-
be homeopathic.
Well, I'm an advocate for you keep your money.
Yeah.
40 hours work, 40 hours money. I'll keep it all and spend it as I wish.
And yeah,
I'm an advocate for that. So, healthcare freedom. And the third thing was, this is just such a little thing. This, the local MP has to live local and hold weekly meetings.
yeah,
And he has to respond to our demands.
yeah, and you know who he is,
And he has to serve our needs. He has
and
to,
you know where he lives.
Yeah, but he lives here. He lives
Yeah.
here and stays here.
Yeah,
Today's modern technology means he doesn't have to
He
go down
doesn't
to
have to
London
go, no.
to prostitute himself and get up to who knows what behind closed doors with
whoever.
whatever.
Mm.
Yeah, has to stay here. Has to stay here and represent the people's views.
Yeah.
And the people would then, I think, become more engaged.
Mm.
And they can remove him at any time.
Yeah.
A vote of no confidence is out of business.
Yeah, it's gone. Mm. Yeah, get rid of this party nonsense. A little thing that I learnt listening to Radio 4. The Labour Party in 2007 was in debt by £25 million.
Really?
Yes, and today they were saying it's only £4.5 million now. I laughed. I couldn't work. I was laughing that much. I thought, you slimy swines, you telling us that it's Tony Blair and Brown and that, oh God, I was just laughing, and I thought, what an idiot I was. What an absolute idiot I was, voting for that shower of anyway. But they
Nanny's boys.
yeah,
Nanny's
absolute
boys.
couldn't. They can't even wipe their own backside. You just look at me and think, no, you haven't got a clue.
If you want to see devolution, look at MPs. If you want to see devolution, if you want to see the wettest, the weakest, the most incapable.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, my father was a draftsman engineer. He was a working draftsman engineer. You know, he could not only draw it, he could get down there and help you build it.
Yeah.
I don't have those skills. I don't have skills like that. Look around. We listened to a little clip by Joe Rogan, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Again, that's on my Facebook wall. And he's only theorising, or is he? Or is he theorising? Because he makes an awful lot of sense, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
That in our hands here we've got 2 microphones. I haven't got a clue how to work. Not a clue.
No, me neither.
You could give me a lifetime to try and work out how this works, and I don't think I'd actually figure it out for sure.
See, how did they get all that sound in there?
Exactly. You know, look around. We live in a world, and we haven't built any of it.
No.
We know how to use it, and we know how to acquire the new things that it asks us to buy.
Yeah.
But we can't make them. We just know how to use them. This leaves us helpless in the way that you can't repair your car.
No.
You know how to drive it, and you know when there's something wrong with it. But you have to take it to an expert.
Yeah.
To fix it. But that's happening in every part of our life, isn't it?
It is.
Even our own personal lives.
Yeah, that fits with what I was just saying about the Labour Party. How it's come about is this £4.5 million debt they've got is with the cooperative bank.
Is it really?
Yeah, and the interest that they're paying on it is going to go up because the cooperative bank's in trouble. So they're looking to swap it to another bank now, so they don't have to pay as much interest. So they're hawking the Labour Party, hawking this £4.5 million debt around to it, and they're going to go with a trade union bank. I forget which one they said it was, but you could. I'm still laughing about it now.
The top brass could pay it off. You know what I mean? But it's all down to you got to keep them in debt. Keep them in the dark, keep them in debt, and keep them dumb.
Yeah.
It really is. We blame ourselves, though. I mean, this isn't where we feel guilty for the world's troubles. We don't feel guilty for the bad things going on in the world. We feel guilty for our own, how dumb we were, how stupid we were, how gullible we were. That's the guilt that I feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I allowed these things by not understanding how it worked at all.
No.
Week on Thursday, I think it's the, what will week on Thursday be? It's the 30th tomorrow, isn't it? It's Wednesday.
Bank holiday. No,
so
we've
the
got
first, so
bank
the
holiday
8th of
Monday,
May.
yeah.
Thursday the 8th of May. Ian R. Crane's in Congleton talking about fracking.
He is, yes.
He's talking about fracking. Now, it's a bit too far for us to go. Thanks for Christine for the invite, but it's a bit too far on a Thursday night as well, so it's a busy day on Friday. But Ian Crane's in Congleton Town Hall week on Thursday talking about fracking.
Yep.
And for those that think TV is the mind control, Eye of Sauron, devil incarnate, it's only because you don't understand it yet. That's all it is. The TV has been telling you your entire life. You just didn't hear it. How do we know? Because we didn't hear it either, did we?
No.
This is Letterman on fracking, and I'm going to play it for you. This is American TV. This is mainline American TV. America's population, 320 million people, and this is played. This is how brave they are now. Because I can only say this is like they don't care. They don't care if we know. They don't care if we know. This is what you're going to do about it then, isn't it? This is what the bully's like.
Yeah.
All right. So you figured me out. All right. All right. I'm a bully. So what are you going to do about it? You eat your army, and I've got mine.
I've got mine.
Yeah, remember those days?
Let's talk about fracking. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to understand it. Here's what I know about fracking. The greedy oil and gas companies of this country have decided that they can squeeze every last little ounce of oil and gas out of previously pumped wells by injecting the substrata of our planet with highly toxic, carcinogenic chemicals, which then seep into the aquifer and hence into the water supply of Americans. The Delaware water gap has been ruined. The Hudson Valley has been ruined. Most of Pennsylvania has been ruined. Virginia, West Virginia has been ruined. Colorado has been ruined. New Mexico has been ruined. They're poisoning our drinking water, and the EPA said, you know what? You no longer have to comply with EPA standards for stuff you put into the water. So the greedy oil and gas company said, great, let's go crazy. And then some states are saying, no, we have a transparency law. So the oil and gas companies say, okay, we'll tell you everything but 2% of what we're putting into your tap water. And that's supposed to make us feel better. Ladies and gentlemen, we're screwed.
Right, welcome back then. Our third and final, usually a smaller segment, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
My name's Paul.
My name's Andy.
And you've been listening to the Unpenned show. Thank you for doing so. We don't really worry whether you subscribe or whether you comment or what you really get out of the shows. We do this for selfish reasons.
We do, really, yeah.
Because we get something out of it.
Yeah.
We get a challenge to represent the stuff. Reality doesn't change in the way that we describe it. It just shows different ways of being described.
Yeah.
And maybe that's true over all the years. That it's always the same game. Different players. Different scenes.
Yeah.
Same outcome.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
I do, yeah.
And, because we've read enough now to realise that everything that we've done in the past hasn't really changed our lots in a way that's been favourable for us. The control system has always held it together. Has always managed to retain control and improve upon its control. And for us to fool ourselves and think that we really can, just by talking, make a difference, it's a little naive. But then this is the only way it is going to be different. And that is to say things in a way that people understand, that are not too challenging, are not too off the wall. We don't get accused of being a conspiracy theorist, because I would be so embarrassed to be called that, because we don't buy into any of them. Do we say they're not true? No, we're not saying they're not true. But I don't buy into things that I can't see and don't understand. It's a bit like Bitcoin. I don't really understand Bitcoin, so I haven't bought into it. Is it good or is it bad? I have no idea.
No.
But in my world, cash is king. If I've got cash in my pocket, it's real, it's mine, and I can do what I want with it. If I buy Bitcoins, track and traceable. So I don't choose to be tracked and traced by Bitcoins.
No.
I don't want to be. Call me old-fashioned, but that's how I feel. You know, is Bitcoin a good investment? Time will tell. And anybody else who tries to tell me different doesn't know. Unless you create in the future, you have to learn from the past and look into the future to see what's to be gained by what you've learned from the past. The past will never copy itself in a way that you're going to figure it out.
No.
It'll always counterfeit itself.
Yeah.
As they forge ahead.
Yes.
The system forges ahead.
It does.
They steam on through. They forge strong relationships.
Yes.
But to forge something is also to counterfeit it.
Counterfeit it, yeah.
It's a positive and a negative.
Yeah.
And the system will always be forging a new one. It'll always be networking and forging new relationships. And it'll always be forging a reality that they build that's favourable for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the fracking thing that we've just played there.
I mean, that's Letterman. That was
Yeah.
Letterman. That was played to America, the whole country of America.
Yep.
And did anything change in the fracking land? Not that I'm aware of.
No.
You know.
No. My son said he's 25 years old now. No, sorry, he isn't. He's 24 years old. Just gone 24 in March. And he said he's very thoughts on fracking. He was watching it on the news as I was. And he said we've got to have energy from somewhere. And if it's cheaper, then it's got to be good.
It's always about the money.
And it's always about the money. And he made me think of... I didn't answer him at the time because it wasn't right to answer him at the time. I didn't want to take it any further than that thought in his head at that time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I held back a little bit. I thought he's got to digest this a little bit. Now, I had the same thing with... And we're of the era of North Sea oil. I remember as being a kid when they found it, and it was on the news. I think it was on Tomorrow's World or wherever, and this was going to be the answer to all our energy problems for the next 70, 80 years, which is another 2 generations. We're well into that generation now. We've probably got just another generation that it's going to last, or so they say. And this was going to be, the be-all and end-all. It was going to mean cheaper utility bills. And that's exactly what Lewis said. He said, if it means cheaper utility bills, what have we got a problem with it for? But, as you said, only time will tell.
Well, we know because there's enough evidence now where fracking has been taking place elsewhere.
Exactly, yes.
That these people come in and they build what they want to build, where they want to build it.
Yeah.
And there is much evidence out there, much evidence.
Yeah.
Over and above the contamination of drinking water. Over and above.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking the Piper Alpha disaster. What price? At what price do we want cheaper bills? When we know...
I was just saying, and we're no longer ignorant.
We're not.
We're no longer ignorant.
No,
we've lived in an oil-based economy now for a long time.
For a long time, yeah.
You know, where we
over 100 years.
We've got a plastic world now. Why have we got a plastic world? Because it's made of oil. And everything is an oil-based economy. Yep, they are preparing us for the next generation of energy. And it will be efficient.
Yes.
But it'll be more efficient for them than it will be for us.
Exactly.
They need to harness this so they can license it, control it, and benefit from it. We have a situation now where there are too many people on the planet as regards productivity.
Yeah.
We don't need them all. Now, I'm not saying that you and I agree with this, but the fact of the matter is, have a little think. What job do you know will exist in 2040? Tell me that job will exist for sure. And I'll say, how do you know? How do you know that job's going to exist?
And you mean as it existing, as in a human doing it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? What are we going to do?
Yeah, we already build cars by robots.
Oh, I think there's a whole heap of things that we're building. I mean, look at where we are. Look at the magnificent, marvellous magic that's been created by supermarkets. Now, I don't know, but I do know this. From my local supermarket, you can buy a family-sized apple pie for £1.39. The eggs, the flour, right?
Yeah.
The sugar.
Mm-hmm.
They boil in the apples,
Mm-hmm.
stew in them,
Mm-hmm.
more sugar, make the lid, baste it, more sugar, put it in the oven. I don't think you can even assemble the ingredients for much less than £1.39. Never mind account for your labour, time and electricity costs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've now got to the point where food is being made
Mm-hmm.
cheaper than we can buy the raw ingredients.
Yeah.
Well, it can't be food then.
No, it can't be.
See what I mean?
I do, yeah.
It can't be food.
No, it looks like food, smells like food, tastes like food.
But it can't
But
be.
it can't be, no.
Because if we can't buy the raw ingredients and make it cheaper,
Mm.
then whatever they're making with it,
Mm.
or it with,
Mm.
can't be food.
No.
We're living in a reality where we're being told, we're being made to feel guilty about everything.
Yes, yeah.
If you want this life, then these are the things that we must do for you.
Mm.
And these are the effects or side effects of what happens so we can try and maintain our lives in the West.
Yeah.
When I go on the YouTube channel and I look at whereabouts in the world are people watching us or listening to us, and it's always the same. The UK, the US, Canada, Australia and New Zealand.
Mm.
That's where we're being listened to. No one else gives a jot.
The so-called Western, most of the Western culture.
The empire that is.
Mm. Yeah.
The empire that still is.
Mm. Predominantly English-speaking ones.
We're being remoulded.
Mm. Yeah.
If you think you're tired, you are tired. But you're going to be remoulded.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to tread this path that they're building for us.
Yeah.
Or are we?
Mm.
Are we going to believe this rubbish that we cannot be more than we are? We can be anything we want to be, but listening to me saying it won't do it.
No.
Listening to somebody else telling you won't do it. Reading it on the internet won't do it. You are not more by watching. You've got to get out and live it. In The Matrix, there's a little clip, isn't there?
There
about
is,
Agent
yeah.
Smith.
Mm.
I'd like to share a revelation that I've had during my time here. It came to me when I tried to classify your species. I realized that you're not actually mammals. Every mammal on this planet instinctively develops a natural equilibrium with the surrounding environment, but you humans do not. You move to an area and you multiply, and multiply until every natural resource is consumed. And the only way you can survive is to spread to another area. There is another organism on this planet that follows the same pattern. Do you know what it is? A virus. Human beings are a disease, a cancer of this planet. You are a plague, and we are the cure.
Really? That's what they want us to think like.
They do.
That's how they want us to feel.
Yeah.
They want us to feel less than, useless, pointless.
Yeah.
Well, I don't.
No,
I don't.
Me neither.
No, I don't.
No.
If I was given a free rein to live my life, I would live it not too different from today. But I would expect and demand things to be different.
Mm.
I would keep all my money. I would not be going to a pretend church called a bank, right? Who only lends money to people who don't bloody need it.
Mm. Yeah.
Right? I wouldn't need a bank. We have no experience of living differently. And because we've never been taught or thought or made to think differently, we can't envisage a different world. Well, don't envisage a different world. Look at the world you live in and remove the bad bits.
Mm.
Remove the bits that are corrupt. That clip it's not talking to you, it's not talking to me. It's talking to the people who are happy to wreck everything so they can succeed.
Yeah.
They're happy to poison us. We know what's going on.
Mm.
We are not two gullible, silly old boys in North Yorkshire. We know exactly what's going on.
Yep.
But these shows are so they can be listened to people who maybe don't know all this stuff. We know the poisons. We know the chemtrails. We know the tricks, the deceit. We know the medicines are nothing more than
counterfeit.
Yeah, we know all these things.
Yeah.
But you have to learn it along your way. You can never, like you said, you can't overdo it in one go.
No.
You've got to learn how bad this is. The fact is, the culling's underway, and it's been underway for some time. The fact is, we're eating doll's house food. The fact is that a lot of people above our station, way above our pay grade, they know exactly what's going on, and they're on board. They're actually happy to do this.
Yeah.
They're happy to cull the entire planet's population.
They feel they have the divine right to do it.
If we got told the truth, half the people would die of shock.
Yeah.
They really would. If they wanted, and maybe that's the plan. Maybe they just would die of shock. We wouldn't believe it. We'd laugh at them. Couldn't possibly be true. And it is true. It is true. They are in charge. It is run their way. It is run for their benefit. They're smarter than us. They've confused us with language and with media, with medicine and with drugs. All sorts of drugs.
Yeah.
But we know. Now we know. Late in the game, but not too late. We won't turn it around in our lifetimes.
No.
And we won't turn it around maybe in another lifetime.
Maybe not. No.
But at least we've recognised what we're here for. The eternal struggle. It is the good versus evil. It's the actual... If humanity doesn't fight back, it won't exist. These people don't care in the way you think they do. Maybe those at the top. Maybe those at the top, and I don't know. Maybe those at the very top. They look at how we're devolving. They look at how we're bringing it on ourselves and don't care. We've been made this way. You've got to stop thinking like that. It is an uncomfortable feeling that it looks like they're going to wipe the slate clean and start again. It does look like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I can sometimes have bad days and think maybe that's what it needs. Maybe the people are so far gone now. They're so dumb. They're so asleep. They're so sleepwalking into a nightmare.
Yeah.
And they still choose to hold on tight. They will not change.
No.
They say one thing, do another. They want to experience love and be happy, and to think somebody else is going to do it for them. This is child's play. This is silly.
It is, yeah.
If you want something, then go get it. But you got to give it to get it. You don't get to give. I'm not going first. You go first. I'm not saying it first. You say it first. You got to give it to get it, and be prepared to lose.
Yeah.
All life's important lessons was learning how to lose. Was being beaten.
Yeah.
If I kept winning all the time, I thought I was God.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You can see the problem we're up against, can't you?
Can. Well, the word confidence, it's got word con in it.
It's got the word confide in it.
Then it goes into confide. Yeah. So you've got to go to somebody and spill the beans.
You got to say, I love you. I really love you. I love you. And I do love you, and I can't describe it properly, but I love being around you. I love the way it feels. I love the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you smell, the way you speak. I love everything about you, and I don't know if that's love, but it's a start, and I like it.
Yeah.
And you got to say thank you, and you got to mean it.
You have, yeah.
You got to remember to say thank you, and you got to remember the terms and conditions that you negotiate. You've got to honour them.
Yeah, and complimentary. It's got to work both ways.
It's a compliment.
Yeah.
That's what it's meant to be.
It is, yeah. Compliment doesn't mean a one-way thing.
No.
To compliment something means that you're sharing something. It's simple.
We make it complicated because we tell lies.
We do, yes. That's what makes it complicated, is the lies.
Because we tell lies. We stay together for the wrong reasons. We actually do. We actually trade with each other, but we don't trade on equal terms. The servants never can. The servants really can't trade with each other at all. They always try and trade up. They always try and trade up to the next floor.
They do.
They want to. They don't want to live below.
No.
They want to trade up to the next floor. They want to go and sit with the. They want to go and sit in the chairs with the men. Well, first of all, you've got to achieve status of man, and you've not got a tick box for that yet, have you?
No.
You've not, have you? No. For another Tuesday.
It flies by.
We might be back next week. Thank you for listening.
Cheers. Good night.